Her voice trembled in a final lullaby for her fading child when the human emerged from the storm. The wind howled like a predator across the icy wastes of Nerith IV, a planet locked in endless blizzards. Snow cascaded from gray skies, and the ground was hidden beneath meters of shifting frost. In a shallow cave on the edge of a frozen ridge, a lone figure cradled a bundle in her arms. She was Elora of the Thalrani, a slender alien woman with pale, iridescent skin that shimmered faintly even in the dim light. Her people had once thrived across worlds warmed by twin suns, but here she was far from home, exiled, starving, and desperate. The child in her arms, her infant daughter Siora, shivered weakly beneath layers of thin cloth. Her breaths came in shallow gasps, each weaker than the last. The cold was seeping into her tiny body, stealing what little life remained. Elora knew she could not save her. The food rations were gone. The last fragments of heatstone had burned out hours before, and the storm outside was too strong to cross in search of help. All she could give her child now was comfort. So she sang. Her voice trembled with grief, carrying the soft cadences of the ancient Thalrani lullabies, melodies passed from mother to child for generations. The song wove through the howling storm, fragile but unyielding, as if she could hold back death itself with sound. And then through the blizzard, footsteps. The stranger in the storm. At first Elora thought she was imagining it, her mind unraveling under grief. But the shadow in the snow grew larger, more distinct. A figure was pushing through the gale, head bent against the wind, wrapped in layers of insulated gear. It was a human. The man staggered into the cave's entrance, snow clinging to his beard and lashes. He carried a pack slung over one shoulder and a long survival spear strapped to his back. His breath came in ragged bursts as he collapsed against the wall, grateful for even this meager shelter. For a long moment, neither spoke. The human's gray eyes met Elora's glowing violet ones, and something unspoken passed between them. Finally, his voice broke the silence, low and strained. "You're not supposed to be here. The Thalrani camps are 3 sectors east." Elora tightened her hold on Siora. "I was cast out. No one would help me, no one but her." Her voice cracked as she looked down at her fading daughter. The human's gaze softened. Slowly, carefully, he knelt closer. "She's freezing," he murmured, recognizing the signs of hypothermia. Without another word, he shrugged off his heavy coat and wrapped it around the child, ignoring the bitter cold that instantly gnawed at his own skin. Elora stared at him in shock. "Why would you?" "Because I can," he said simply. "The middle, a fragile flame." The man introduced himself as Captain Rylan Merrick, a former pilot of the United Terran Fleet, stranded after his shuttle was torn apart by the same storms. He had been searching for shelter and supplies for 3 days, half frozen and starving himself. Yet, as weak as he was, his focus turned to Elora and her child. From his pack, he produced emergency rations, heat crystals, and a thermal blanket. Soon, a faint warmth spread through the cave, fighting back the deathly chill. Elora's eyes filled with tears as she fed her daughter tiny drops of warmed nutrient paste. Siora stirred, fragile but alive. For the first time in hours, Elora dared to hope. "You saved her," she whispered. Rylan shook his head. "Not yet. The storm won't break for days. We'll need to move when it does. There's a Terran outpost not far from here. If we can reach it, she'll live." But the days that followed were a trial of endurance. The blizzard howled relentlessly, testing their fragile shelter. Elora sang to her daughter each night, her voice steadier now, as Rylan listened in silence. Though he did not understand the words, the melody struck something deep within him. One evening, as the fire crystals burned low, Elora asked quietly, "Why did you come to me? You could have kept walking." Ryland's gaze stayed fixed on the storm outside. "I've lost children before. Couldn't save them. Not again." Elora said nothing, but her hand brushed his briefly in silent understanding. The journey through the white hell. When the storm finally broke, they left the cave together. Ryland carried Siora close to his chest, shielding her from the wind, while Elora trudged beside him. The frozen world stretched endlessly before them. Vast plains of glittering frost, jagged ridges of ice, and skies gray as ash. The journey was brutal. Food was scarce, the cold cut like knives, and Siora's condition remained fragile. But step by step, they pressed on. Then, on the third day, disaster struck. From the snowy cliffs descended a pack of frostfangs, beasts of ice and sinew, their fangs glittering like crystal shards. Their howls pierced the air as they closed in, hungry for blood. Elora cried out, clutching her child. Ryland planted himself between them and the beasts, spear in hand. "Run if you can," he shouted. But Elora did not run. She stood beside him, her voice rising in a piercing, melodic cry. It was not a lullaby this time, but an ancient Thalrani war song. The sound echoed across the icy plain, disorienting the frostfangs, making them falter. Ryland seized the chance, striking with deadly precision. His spear found its mark, driving the beasts back until at last they fled into the storm. Panting, bleeding from a gash along his arm, he turned to Elora. She was still singing, her voice unshaken, as Siora slept peacefully against her chest. "You stayed," he said in awe. "I swore never to leave her," Elora replied. "And now never to leave you." The ending, from lullaby to dawn. At last, after days of hardship, they saw it, the faint glow of the Terran outpost cutting through the endless white. Soldiers rushed to meet them, guiding them inside to warmth and safety. Doctors took Siora immediately, working to stabilize her fragile body. Elora and Ryland waited together in silence, their hands clasped tightly, until at last a medic emerged with a small smile. "She'll live," the doctor said. Elora broke into sobs of relief, clutching Ryland as though he were the only anchor she had left in the universe. His arms wrapped around her, steady and strong. In the days that followed, as Siora regained her strength, Elora sang once more. This time it was not a trembling lullaby of farewell, but a song of renewal, her voice filling the outpost with hope. And always, sitting quietly at her side, was the human who had emerged from the storm, the one who had given her child a second chance at life. Her voice had trembled in a final lullaby, but because of him, the song did not end. It became the beginning of something greater.